A very warm welcome to Naypyidaw. We are at the Wanatekti Indoor Stadium. It is the first of a new series of the ISTAF Super Series. Coming up next, we have a match between Malaysia and Korea. Malaysia, 2 wins out of 2, not a set drop. Korea, who were expected to be real contenders in this ISTAF Super Series season, but they've sent a slightly weakened team and they're struggling, Drew Lilly. They haven't performed as we expected.
They look very poor in their opening match. Defeated hands down by Singapore. They need to win this one, and then they need to win the local derby against Japan if they are going to stay alive and qualify for the semi-finals.
At the moment, it's the Koreans who've just got a 4-man regu here. You're allowed up to 5 players in any single team. Malaysia have got the full complement of players, but it's not the fact there's 4 players, it's who the 4 are for Korea. It clashes with their national championships, and so they have sent a weakened regu, and we're seeing perhaps that there isn't a strength and depth in Korean Sepaktakraw.
Exactly, it's a real shame, because when you had the likes of Iman Soo, Park Hyung-gyun, people like that, they really were a force to be reckoned with.
Let's look though first at Malaysia and Shahir Rosdi. Strong Tekong in the first game, a 2-0 victory over Singapore earlier on today. Shazreen Kamar and Karel Zaman, who was Zaman to coin a phrase, but also coming on, Sahidan really played a role as well. They're looking strong on Malaysia.
They are, and if they can, they've looked very strong so far. It was the Causeway Derby this morning, and they managed to defeat Singapore. It was a close first set, but they ran away with it in the second. That was Shahir Rosdi looking very, very good from the Tekong position.
As for Korea, I'd say just the 4. The Tekong is Jung Sik, Wee Sung Uk and Jo Wang Kyung are the rest of the starting team, with Seong Mim also in the squad. But it's a weakened team. We'll get a better gauge of Korea in the Korean leg in early December.
Exactly. You certainly hope that they're going to pick the main ones. As I say, Singapore wiped the floor with them, and that is something that shouldn't happen, with all respect to Singapore, who played very well.
Let's hand over to the MC. So the official team lines have been announced and the players have been announced in this very noisy MC. It's a wonderful arena, this, made for the SEA Games earlier on this year, and the whole complex in Naypyidaw, it's brand spanking new, and the facilities are excellent as well. Now for Malaysia, they're going with the same starting 3 who performed so admirably against Singapore earlier on today. That's Shahir, the big number 23, Shazreen Kamar, who's the scrambler and the fetcher, and Karel Zaman, and that, you would argue, is their strongest 3, Drew Lilly.
It is, and I think they need to get as much game time together as possible. We could well see Shahir Rosdi given a rest and Sahidan Ali coming on in the Tekong position, because I really do expect them to cruise to victory in this match, so it might be a good idea to give a couple of the backups a little bit of game time, just in case there's an injury. You never hope there will be, but you need to make sure that your substitutes are ready to play if they're called upon.
tactically, Malaysia, if they win the group, will face the second place in Group B, which at this stage looks like it's going to be Myanmar, although Indonesia would like to have a little say in that little battle. So Malaysia, certainly they don't want to lose this, because second in the group means you face Thailand in the semi-finals.
Exactly, you know you're going to have to beat Thailand if you're going to win a tournament, but you might as well play them as late as is humanly possible. You might as well play them in the final if you're going to play them at all.
Rather ignoring a little bit the Koreans. We'll focus on them in a moment. There's the starting list there. Shazreen Kamar. I tell you what, the feeders, they're always understated, but they do so much work. The stars are the Tekongs and the strikers, but the feeders, the heartbeat.
Exactly, Shazreen Kamar is one of the best in the game, and now we're looking at the Korean lineup, and it says feeder, Tekong and striker. You're going to see them moving around a lot. You're going to see Jo Won-hyung is a striker in name only. He isn't very good at dominating the net, and there's going to be a lot of moving around from this very inexperienced Korean regu.
So the Elite Eight in Istaf Sepaktakraw make their way through. This is the second of the three main events going on today. We've just seen Thailand get the better of Myanmar, 21-16, 21-16, Malaysia, Korea. Later on, we've got the women's group, Thailand versus Myanmar, Malaysia versus Vietnam. But now it's the men's regu, Korea, to get us underway. Level. And straight into the net. Kim Jung-sik.
An inauspicious start for Korea there.
First to 21, best of 3 sets. Shazreen. And that's beautifully played.
It was saved by Shazreen Kamar, and that meant that he couldn't set it up. So it was up to Shahir Rosdi to set it up, which he did for Khairul Zaman, who's on the board already with his first spike.
And that's long. A 3-fer against your own serve, not what you want to get off.
No, and now it's up to Shahir Rosdi. There's a lot less pressure on his shoulders than there was at the start of the derby against Singapore this morning, but he certainly rose to the pressure. Let's see what he does now.
Just a slight stoppage. We've got a scoreboard malfunction. It's saying 2-0. There we go. That just swings away from Kim Jung-sik, and Korea almost coming out with shoulders slumped and nothing positive.
They're looking lethargic, aren't they?
And 5 love down.
For me, I know the Korean Championships are on at the moment, but surely they could have spared at least one experienced player, either Im An-soo or Kim Young-man in the striker position, for example, just to an old hand to lead the youngsters.
Shazreen. Well, there's a role reversal. Shazreen setting up Khairul Zaman.
There we go. Khairul Zaman with his second successful spike already. He was a little way from the net there, but he picked his angle perfectly, hits the tape and goes over.
Shazreen. Again, Khairul Zaman. Wow, 6 love.
Make that 7 as the scoreboard is about to tick round. That's one-way traffic at the moment. Back in the days of first to 15 points, you'd start thinking about the dreaded bagel, and will they give them a mercy point?
First to 21. 3 service faults already, and a time out called very early.
There is very little that Korea can do. They have a a Taekong on the bench who's a mere 19 years old, Kim Song-min, who wasn't in action yesterday, so they're going to have to live and die by this starting three. Same for Malaysia, they've got a very strong starting three, but live and die by it. They're certainly living by it. They're 8-love up at the moment and absolutely cruising.
All the stats: spike winners 3 for Malaysia, obviously 0 for Korea. Service faults 3 for Korea, only 2 serves in so far. 1 block for Korea that just got the ball back in play, and Malaysia went on and won that point anyway. Could be a long, short afternoon for Korea.
Right, let's see if they can get on the board now. Try to turn things around.
Off the tape. But Satu Duo Tiga for Malaysia. 3 for, 3 for, 3 for.
At the moment, it's a training run for the Malaysians. It's almost as if they can just practice their set moves. And Khairul Zaman must be absolutely loving this. He knows that it's going to be set up for him every time.
The bagel is avoided on point number 10.
There's the mercy point. Goes a little bit long. Only ever been 1 bagel in a staff competition. Brunei Darussalam inflicted a 15-love on USA.
Well done, Stato. When?
Ooh, back in the day.
You can't answer that. 9-2.
It was in the first season.
A couple of service errors here.
I'm going to say it was in Palembang, but you can look it up on www.sepaktakraw.org.
Off the top of the tape. Need to emphasise, if you're watching Sepaktakraw for the first time, this isn't a true indication of Korea's abilities. It's very much a second-string team. He thought it was in, did Jung Sik. He was as surprised as anyone when it was called out. 2-11.
What they would give to have Park Hyung-gyun in the Taekong circle at the moment.
Rosdi, Shazreen, Khairul. The set's not great. And that's self-set from Mohammad Shazreen Kamar.
It was a save, set and spike from the... He rarely gets a chance to spike Shazreen Kamar. They occasionally let him do it on match point. You see it for Patrapong Yupadi as well. He was always allowed to finish off matches for Thailand.
Shazreen again. And Khairul Zaman. 12-2.
Almost the first block there from Jo Wan-hyung. The Malaysians are going to have to be careful that they don't get a little bit too nonchalant there. They need to stay on their toes. It's difficult when you're playing a second-string team, but they need to get the killer instinct. They call the spikers or the strikers the killers in this game, and they need to keep a killer instinct.
Because the next match is a semi-final. Can't turn off. Third service error from Shahir Rosdi, and maybe they asked.
We had that a little bit in the match against Japan from Shahir Rosdi. He can get out of a rhythm. This morning in the Straits Derby, he never lost his focus all the way through and served at a 90% clip. 6 service winners as well.
Hey, fine winner, Wang Kyong. The set from Seongguk.
Finally, a first spike for Jo Wan-hyung. That'll give him a little bit of personal pride, and he took it very well.
Perfectly executed roll spike. Too much for Wee Seong-yuk.
Shahir Rosdi will be looking to crack the 70 km/h barrier, just to send out a message to the Thais.
Shazreen, Khairul Zaman. You can only beat what's put in front of you.
Well, there he was given the freedom of the net. He had to move across a little bit, but the Korean defence, they neither came forward nor backed off. They did a lot of nothing there.
But it's still stunning athleticism. And judgment.
That was very well left as it drifted just long.
17-4, 3 serves to come. That was special. That was worth it from Wang Kyung.
He's picked up a couple of points. It was very, very good defence from the Taekong, Kim Jung-sik, who's the captain of this team, so responsibility on his young shoulders.
Seong-yuk just can't get into the game, the Korean feeder. That one bouncing off his right foot.
Feeders are the one who have to do all the defensive work, and he really needs to be keeping alive these services from Shahir Rosdi.
There is the youngster, 20 years of age. Oh, nicely played. He's shown good awareness at the net as Wee Seong-yuk. Sorry, Jo Wan-hyung.
He's been the standout player for them so far. He really struggled in the match yesterday against Singapore. He's looking more of a presence, a bit more about him today.
Khairul Zaman through the double block.
Even the double block looked lethargic. They went there, they got in position, but there was nothing to it. Straight through the middle of them. Wonderful placement from Khairul Zaman.
And Khairul Zaman, self-set, sets up 14 set points, 14.
Now that was wonderful placement. He had to go out, make sure he had the time and the place, and look at the placement.
Jung-sik celebrating his first ace.
And well, he might.
The first ace of the whole match.
Yes. Perfect. Cannoned into the tape and went over. That's a perfect service.
And the long road continues. It's not the road to Mandalay. We're in Naypyidaw. But I'm desperate to use that phrase.
And you have. Wonderful placement there from Des Corkill. Jo Wan-hyung, he's got a bit about him. He's got a bit about him.
And a 3-for.
3 set points saved already.
Still Malaysia on serve, but it's 4 service faults, which is 1 more than he served in the whole match against Singapore. Seeing a furrowed brow in Drew Lilly.
He raises his game against good opposition, and then he seems to bring it down against weaker ones.
And there's your pal, Wan-hyung again. What's his stats for Wan-hyung? He's up to...
That must be at least 5, I'd have thought now.
It
5
is.
spikes.
5 spikes. Still set point. Shazreen Kumar to Khairul Zaman.
So the 5th time of asking, Malaysia finally put it away, and it's that man, Khairul Zaman. Here's the 1-2-3 punch as well, saved by the Tekong, set up by the feeder, and then put away beautifully at the net by the killer. That's the way it's done.
So Malaysia take this first set 21-10, and they take it in just 14 minutes. But after a 9-love start, that set was always going to be Malaysia's, but Korea will take a certain amount of heart from the fact that of the last 21 points, they picked up 10 of them.
Exactly, yes, they got off to far too slow a start, took their time out, which I suppose you could say came at the right time for them. They were never going to get back in to this match, but there are positives that can be taken from it thus far. Jo Wan-hyung in particular, as we were saying there, 5 spikes, but the whole body language, as you said, was looking negative right from the outset.
You look at those stats, the service winners, the serve rate percentage, the spike winners, all in Malaysia's favour, but that you go to a 9-love lead and you don't expect to lose, and Malaysia certainly didn't. But the star emerging from this little the group stage is Khairul Zaman Hamir Akbar, the 20-year-old who's growing into international takraw after the Asian Games, where Malaysia were roundly condemned back in Malaysia. They've got something to prove, this group of young players.
Yep, particularly, as you say, Khairul Zaman, he's the spiker, or the killer, as they like to call him in Malaysia, and there is a space for him to step up. Noor Shahrudin has had a cruciate ligament injury. He hurt his knee about a year ago, came back, tried to start playing again, and then pinged his cruciate, the poor fella, his medial cruciate ligament. So he's going to be out of action, likely for the entire ISTAF Super Series. That means that somebody is going to have to step up. Khairul Zaman is the man at the moment. He's the man in possession of the striker's berth for Malaysia. He's a perfect 10 from 10 spikes in this match so far. That's all that he can do, and it'll be interesting to see just how well he does in the knockout phases on Saturday, and maybe if they make it to the final on Sunday.
Interesting times in Malaysia. There's just about to be a domestic league starting. There's tryouts for the tournament, which starts in Terengganu up in the northeast of the country in a couple of weeks' time. The STL, the Sepaktakraw League, they're calling it, and they're hoping it'll help Malaysia create a little bit of strength in depth to really compete with Thailand. So while Korea have got their national championships, Malaysia have got their Sepaktakraw League, and they're going to make a couple of substitutions in this match. Sahidan Muhammad Ali comes on, as does Mohammad Zamri Dahan. A Tekong striker, Khairul Zaman and Shahir Rosdi, respectively, replaced. The block. That's a nice way to start. Zamri Dahan, welcome to ISTAF Super Series Myanmar.
Yep, he's another fellow who'll be looking to fill that striker's berth in the absence of Noor Shahrudin, and with Hanafi Adola not being at this tournament.
Sahidan into the net. What is Zamri? He's about 175, 170. Service ace for Sahidan.
Yes, not the greatest of judgments shown there by the Koreans. Poor old Jo Wan-hyung ducked out of the way, turned round and watched it land a good 6 inches inside the corner.
Oops.
Indeed.
Off the tape, Sahidan rescues. Zamri. Sahidan again. Zamri's winner. Good takraw, good takraw.
It was kept alive both times, which is obviously easier said than done. Getting a foot underneath it, but making sure that the ball stays up and you can carry on playing. A real skill, and then put away there with a sunback spike from Zamri Dahan.
Shazrin. Zamri. Point Korea, he put it out.
Yep, went just a little bit too long there. Again, Korea going to have to, Malaysia going to have to stay on their toes here. Don't want to be too complacent.
That's better from Zamri. A better angle.
He's a chunkier figure than Khairul Zaman. More of a presence at the net. It'd be good to see how good he is at blocking.
Both the toss and the attempted serve were way off kilter there.
That's the thing, when you change a striker, you're quite often changing the person who tosses the ball for the tekong as well.
Very high toss that time from Zamri, and that seemed to suit Sahidan.
Well, it has to be very high if you're going to throw it up for Sahidan, who's got a very upright motion, and he stands 1.94 m. He's got quite a quirky motion when he serves. He seems to be sort of chest on to begin with and then moves around. That back foot comes back.
Now Zamri, like a bit of a tennis, he kind of anticipated at the net.
It was the right thing to do. He sort of took it as a volley, didn't he? And but it was the right idea, but the wrong execution.
Staying alive. Shazreen. Zamri.
That was more like it. A lovely set from Shazreen Kamar, as he does so well. He always seems to be perfectly poised and balanced, and then puts the ball up right by the net for his striker to put it away.
That was his third successful spike. And that's long. Sepaktakraw.org for more information on this wonderful sport. We'll give you rules and regulations, previous stats from previous years. This is season 3. And also Drew Lilly, my co-commentator, writes the occasional word of wisdom. Very occasional. Good ace, second ace. That's the first for Sahidan.
Expect a little more energy from Malaysia here, because we've got the two backups on the tekong and the striker. You'd expect them to be buzzing around, desperately trying to make a case for getting some more game time in the semi-finals tomorrow.
A Korean 1-2-3. Jung-sik, Seongguk, Won-hyung.
Nicely set up there by the captain, just in front of the net. And then Jo Won-hyung can put it away once again.
Oh, that's his first error. 7 attempted spikes, 6 successful. He looked in position.
He did. He saw the big figure of Zamri coming towards him for the block, and that maybe put him off.
Zamri goes by, passes the double block.
Well, the double block was thrown up there, but not quite in the right position. He's obviously a sun-back spiker, not a roll spiker, so it was always going to be right foot over the right shoulder, and they were slightly out of position there, the Koreans.
9th service fault, only 14 in. Serve percentage in the low 60s for Korea. You need it to be in the low 80s at least. Shazreen Zamri. Oh, well played, young fella. Wan Hyung might keep his place in the team even when the first teamers are around.
He could do. He's got a lot of competition though there. If you think of Im An-soo and Kim Young-man being the top two strikers, Im An-soo being one of the best attacking strikers and Kim Young-man one of the best defensive killers in the game.
Good power from Sahidam, service winner, not a service ace, but 7 service winners in total for Malaysia. Zamri's block.
This is more like it from Zamri. He took a little while to get going there, but now his spiking's looking very good, and as I've said before, he's a big presence at the net, and we're going to see exactly how big he is here with Jo Wan Hyung putting in a good spike, but that was a great block.
And then Zamri follows up an excellent block with a poor toss. Really gave Sahidam nowhere to go. As you say, though, it needs to be high. And Malaysia moving serenely on to what looks to be a routine qualification victory. It gets harder from here on in.
Certainly will.
Shazreen to Zamri. Sianguk. Point Malaysia.
Everybody went for that at the net. Nobody made contact. It's a great effort there from Zamri, who was a long way back, and then that one just died in no man's land, nestled into the net. Just needed the finest of touches from Jo Wan Hyung. (18 out of 28 from Kim Jung-sik. He's doing his best there. They do have a Taekong on the bench, but that person, Kim Seong-min, has yet to take his tracksuit top off in either of the games.
That's beautiful. Great placement.
Certainly was very canny service with the side of the foot.
He's gone off the boil a little bit, Kim Jung-sik. Sorry, Jo Wan Hyung.
He started off very well, but he was carrying the team on his shoulders in the first set. In the second, obviously he can't be substituted off because there isn't another striker on the bench.
It's gone long, point Korea. Again, they just hang in there. But the final score will be double figure, but they've never really been close, Korea.
It's not a double figure scoreline, is it at all?
Oh. Well, it will be a double figure scoreline, but I know exactly what you mean.
A couple of raised hands there, but that was perfectly on the line.
That one wasn't.
Still smiling there, the Koreans. They'll have picked up some good experience, and they are all relatively young, aged between 20 and 22. Their day will come.
Zamri sets up 10 match points for Malaysia.
Zamri is making a case for himself as a good second option at the net. Obviously, we've mentioned there's no Noor Shahrudin, Hanafi Abdullah not in this squad, and he's obviously behind Karol Zaman in the pecking order, but he's looked good in the second part of this second set.
And a monkey drop wins it. 21-10, 21-10.
Well, that was almost a microcosm of the entire match. A little service that flicked over, touches the tape, and if you watch the three Koreans there, they just stand, shrug of the shoulder, and, well, there we go. The match is now done and dusted. Off they go.
Well, Sahidan stands and delivers, as do Malaysia. They've taken this one 21-10, 21-10, just 26 minutes of court time. We feared that the sets going up to 21 had actually increased the time of the games. It's quite the reverse. We're shooting through the games, 26 minutes of court time. It's barely enough to get a full sweat up for the Malaysians.
What's today, it was very much a training run in the first set, and then also in the second when they made two substitutions. Sahidan Ali, the big tall righty Tekong who came on, and then Zamri Dahan, who was the chunkier figure, the striker at the net. But here we're seeing the original lineup for Malaysia. This is from the first set, obviously with Khairul Zaman dominating, easily getting into double figures on the spikes, even though he only played one set, and it really was one-way traffic for a lot of that first set.
Khairul Zaman firing Malaysia into a 9-love lead, after which that first set was always going to be Malaysia's. They went on to take it 21 points to 10. And all three players getting involved. It was impressive, and Shahir Rosdi, when he keeps his focus, the teenager looks a real find at Tekong for Malaysia.
He's a great player. He, as you say, focus is a big thing for him, and he really was focused against Singapore in the second group match this morning, a little less so in the afternoon. There we're seeing the second set now when the two substitutes came on, and once they got into their rhythm, Sahidan Ali looks a decent Tekong, nothing too special, but he's quite clever. There we see him finishing off the match, but the better of the two substitutions for me was Zamri. Big fella on the left there, he was a real presence blocking at the net.
Moving on to the statistics of the game. Malaysia dominating everywhere. Better serve percentage, although below 75%. 13 spike winners. That was a combination both of Zamri in the second set and Khairul Zaman in the first. Spiking rate of 89%. Korea, they did well. There was good work there from Wan Hyung. He was probably the star man, but effectively there was only ever going to be one winner in this contest, and it's Malaysia. They took it quite comfortably in just 26 minutes. 21-10, 21-10. So that's the men's regu for today. Coming up next, we've got the women's regu, and we've got the hosts Myanmar up against the defending champions Thailand. That is coming up next. ISTAF Super Series Myanmar from the Wanatekti Stadium in Naypyidaw. Join us in just a few minutes' time for Thailand versus Myanmar.